Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I can.
Hold on. Hold on. Uh, no, no, no. Stop, stop, stop. Don't laugh yet. You're not supposed to know that this is. Greetings. My name is Nick. You may know me as Wrath. And today I will be doing a deep dive into the cult of Hyperianism by having a conversation with two of the cult's former moderators. With me will be former Order member, content creator, moderator, and the face of the Ontological Mathematics YouTube series, Christina Larsen. Also joining us for this moderator tell-all will be the former head writer for the Hyperion Source YouTube channel, musician who contributed their own music to the same channel, content creator, and livestream moderator, Jewel Marsh. Without further ado, let's get into this discussion. All right, well, Jewel, Christina, thank you for being here, both of you. How are you guys this evening?
Good, good.
Pretty good, pretty good. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Well, it's good to see you both on the outside.
Mm.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's good to be out.
Yeah.
It's good to be on the outside.
It's very good to be out.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, I would like to get into this discussion. I have some questions for you. What was your experience like working as a moderator?
I was a moderator for about a year and a half, I want to say. Christina, if you think that number is off, let me know. It might have been like a year. I kind of lost track of time, but I think it was about a year and a half. And I'd already been working for the Hyperion source when they offered. And at first, when they asked me if I want to be a mod, I said no, because I was not trying to, I didn't really want that responsibility. And also, be in the chats, you can really tell some people just like really want it. They really, without being a moderator, they want to be a moderator so bad. They want the clout. They want to be in that position of authority. And I was not looking for that. I didn't really want anything to do with it. So at first I just said no. Right after Susan had asked me, and I said probably not. Corey asked me like on the live stream and kind of like put me in the corner, and I was kind of like sure, I guess. Like I just kind of like whatever. I mean, I'll just do it, I guess. So he ended up making me one right then there. And I don't know, it was kind of a weird experience from the get-go. Like, not only was it kind of like a coercive tactic that he used to get me to be a mod, but like I just had a bad feeling about it. I didn't really want it. And like when I started showing up to the streams and being a mod and like being charged with looking at each and every comment pretty much that went by, and screening them, I started to like my relationship with the movement, if you want to call it that, and the material really started to change, because it like became um I started to find myself focusing, I guess, on the chat and what they were saying, and I focused less. I became distracted. I was not really aware or concerned as much with what Corey was saying and the directions the live streams were going in. Um, and like, so I think that in a way contributed to my not realizing as soon as I should, like, what this content had become, what this quote unquote movement had become, because I was like not focusing on it as intently as I should have been. Instead, I was focusing on the like dumbass comments coming through the chat, and I was like, I was starting to really lose hope, and just all sort of the inspiration that I'd once felt with Hyperianism when you start reading the comments, each and every one that come through the live streams, like it's a really easy way just to like lose hope, lose all sort of the magic is gone pretty much. Like, I mean, when you start to realize like that the majority of people are only in it for love pretty much of Corey. They're in it for the community, the sort of like sense of false togetherness you get. They like, you know, if Corey mentions pizza or a movie offhand, the entire chat just like completely devolves, and that's all they want to talk about. They start talking about like ice cream and like whatever banal shit you can think of. So that was kind of I remember just completely one day kind of realizing that like I was not 100% aware of like the quality of our live streams anymore. I was just kind of like, because I was so focused, so hell-bent on my job, my duties as a moderator, I wasn't giving the proper attention to what this thing had become.
Yeah, it sounds like the nature of what Hyperianism truly is and why it exists in the first place revealed itself. Uh, as soon as you were on the back end of it.
Yeah, it did reveal itself. I didn't really, I was unable to put two and two together. I was unable to take to heart the lesson that should have taught me. It was kind of like noise that I allowed to distract me from the real reality of the real truth of the matter.
Well, I'm glad we can all talk about it now, and in hindsight, and try to help other people see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christina, what was your experience like working as a moderator?
Well, my experience working as a moderator started a lot earlier. It started when we created the Outer Circle Facebook group back in the summer of 2017. So we have all these people coming in, and the way we would screen them is we would ask a few questions. I don't even remember what they were, and then we would go to their Facebook pages and just make sure they weren't, Trump loving, right wing, religious nut jobs. And if they weren't any of those things, then we let them in. And it was so time consuming dealing with moderating that. And it was because we had to tolerate so much and it was so aggravating. And so this was back when the order was really active, and we would have conversations in our secret Facebook group about what was going on. That's where the conversations were taking place, as opposed to recently when they've just been in those messenger chats. And we would have arguments in there about people that were coming in and creating conflict. And the type of stuff that I remember most was people coming in and trying to make Hyperianism into what they wanted it to be, or arguing with the moderators about what Hyperianism is and isn't, and what things are, true and not. A particular instance that comes to mind was a person who came in and posted a picture of themselves and with the caption, "Hyperianism is all about makeup," and wrote an essay on that. And, Morgan Susan's tactic was, well, don't piss anybody off because we need to grow our numbers. So just, kindly correct them. We don't want to offend anybody because we don't want them to leave. And so we had to approach it all very delicately. I remember there was once an argument between a moderator and some random person who was in there about the politics, and we got yelled at a lot. It seemed like we got corrected, I think would be a better term. We got corrected on what was the correct way to deal with these people, and any discussion we tried to have about it was always that Morgue and Susan were right and everyone else was wrong, and we needed to get on board, because the idea was that we needed to increase our numbers, and by increasing our numbers we would spread wider, and as we spread wider we would reach quality people. And that was 5 years ago, and it still hasn't happened. In fact, all that's happened is it's gone downhill, because anyone who now comes to this movement, there's really not much to look at now in these days except for the live stream. And so if you come into the live stream and you're hanging out and you're watching the very beginning with what Morgue is saying and talking about and what's going on in the chat, we're no longer attracting the kind of people that I thought we were trying to attract back when I came on board in February 2017, when I saw the math videos, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is why I'm here. I'm staying.
It seems like attracting quality people was never really on Morgue's agenda. It seems like in hindsight, it was all a narcissistic supply, like that's all it was, just to feed this idea that Morgue is some woke messiah from YouTube, who like came to like save you. That's what we can see now in hindsight. But of course, at the time, you were told like, oh, just I remember you telling me that it's like dealing with children in the group, and it's like babysitting kindergartners, and then Morgue and Susan, expected you to deal with it like that was the best use of your talents.
Yeah. And like I think it's very important to admit and see for yourself that all of this talk about like attracting worthwhile, intelligent people, that was all bullshit. Like, it was never supposed to happen. It was just a story, and that is proven by like just how long he was saying it, like all the way back with you, Christina, and like again and again and again, same story, same song and dance. But like you said, like if you look at it now, not only has it not gotten better, it's gotten much worse. It's like it's fucking pathetic. It's embarrassing. And like what you were saying actually reminded me of something else that I should probably say for the mod question. So in regards to like, not really wanting to ban people of like just for being kind of like stupid or simple. Like this was something that happened. I'd noticed this for a while. I had many conversations with Susan about the quality, the caliber of person that was there. The love fest with Corey, like all this stuff was really rubbing me the wrong way. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And she would always like try and talk me down and try and like console me with like, oh, it's fine, and I went along with it. I let her convince me otherwise, I guess. But one thing that happened though was that it was after you had left, Christina, and people were modding, and like I was kind of like, I was probably the most aggressive one, and I would like ban stupid people if they were like, if they were sending like their emoji bombs where it's like no text, it's just like a bunch of emojis over and over, like get the fuck out. Like I don't have any time or tolerance, patience for this kind of bullshit. People who were talking about the whatever 5D self, ascended masters, stuff like that, same thing. I would boot them, get out. And one time I remember Corey said, hey, he was like all of us in Zoom. He was like, hey, like awesome job, you guys modding. except for one little thing. And he was like, let's not, we don't want to ban people just for being stupid. Because YouTube is not a platform where we can expect intelligent discourse, and we're not going to expect intelligence drawn to us via YouTube. And like clearly, I think this was directed at me because I was like the only one really doing that. And like that really like I did not like that answer that at all. And like I didn't say anything at the time, but I remember just like thinking to myself, I kept going over this, like kind of like what you were saying, Christina, like the main platform then and now, like pretty much the only avenue of expression for this group Hyperianism is via YouTube. Corey has no books coming out. He has nothing other than his live streams on YouTube. So if that is the case, if Hyperianism lives on YouTube pretty much, then how is it that we are not going to expect intelligence brought to us from YouTube, like through YouTube? Like what is like some future platform that is going to bring us all the intelligent people? It makes no sense. It falls apart like it's a clear example of just the dull kind of know nothing person that is common, that is commonly attracted to those live streams, is just exactly the kind of person that he wants, that Susan wants, and they just keep making excuses to why they're there, like, oh no, we just wait, like all this, but like there's no problem in their world. That is exactly the way things should be, and anything they say to anyone else is just to sort of like appease them and placate them,
It sounds like, especially at that time, you were the only mod that had an intelligence filter anyway, right? Like, you know what I mean? And it's what it sounds like is you had a legitimate concern about what the fuck's going on here, and Susan gaslit you. That's what it sounds like, and Morg too. And that argument that like, oh no, we need as many people as possible, and then the smart ones will find us. In my experience, I know that it has the opposite effect of just growing and bringing in all these people that mostly vulnerable people. Because let's face it, Hyperianism exists to feed Morg's narcissism, and as a narcissist, he is an expert at identifying with all these vulnerable people and personality types and bringing those people in. But when I would meet an intelligent person, especially close friends of mine, I would invite them to come to a live stream of Morgues. When I would represent the ideas of Illuminism in a conversation with these people, my friends, and other just intelligent people, they would say, you know what, that sounds actually really awesome. Where can I find out more? And I would say, oh, check out this live stream. And then they would come to this live stream and see exactly what you're talking about, Jewel. All the, like people freaking out over 5D and pizza and shit. And they didn't want because they're intelligent people, they didn't want anything to do with it. So it had the opposite effect. And then of course you bring this to their attention, in good faith, like, hey, I have this might help with the quality of Hyperion, the average Hyperion, the caliber of that person. And it sounds like they gaslit you because the actual agenda was never to find quality people and artists and thinkers and philosophers. It was actually just to feed Morg's narcissism and his lifestyle as a
pocketbook.
Yeah. So he can have a North Hollywood apartment and hydroponic systems and just this crazy fantasy world that he lives in.
And like there was like a time when we had like Corey, Susan, and I had like a impromptu late night Zoom. It was like an emergency meeting kind of thing. It was like at 3 a.m. or something like that. And everything kind of like came up during that call. I was given the opportunity to sort of like really press Corey and grill him on like what my issues were, and like how with everything we'd seen so far come out, how they were like, in my view at the time, they were like, I didn't agree with everything, like I said at the time, but there were like valid, worthwhile points to be made about Hyperianism and like what it had become, and no one was engaging with those. No one was even making an effort just to like approach it in a good faith way of saying like, okay, hey, maybe there's a point here, maybe we can work on this. There was none of that. And that was one of my gripes. I was like, what the fuck is up with like all these people? I remember that I brought up to him that vegan food thing delivery that he was doing for a while during his live streams, like how you would like order for him, then it would get delivered to him to eat on camera. And I was like, dude, like what the fuck is this? Like can you like are you even aware like of the optics of that, like how that makes you look? Like you look like a trash shallow influencer by doing stuff like that. Like just no, like what does this have to do with the material? What does this have to do with raising consciousness, as you say? And his answer was pretty much, oh well, you'd be amazed what you have to do as a content creator to like just pretty much get eyeballs, get likes, get views. And in so many words, he was just like be grateful, you're lucky pretty much that it could be much worse. I could like the amount of stuff I could do just to like garner like easy ways of kind of like getting people in and getting eyeballs on the content. The amount of stuff that he could do that would be worse than what I'm bringing up is incredible. So more or less just be grateful that he like keeps it somewhat curtailed, that it's somewhat kept in check pretty much. And even with that answer, you can see the sort of like arrogance underlying that, and like how it's like, oh, like be grateful, huh? Like I mean, like not even willing to admit that like um that food delivery thing was like a huge mistake. Like I mean, if someone were like honestly engaging with their critics, you would at least expect them to say, okay, like that was bad, I fucked up or something like that. But no, it was that, oh, you have no idea what it takes to be an influencer, pretty much, to be a content creator, to like to always be looking for like a new donation and a new way to sell yourself, pretty much. So there was that.
I also, just on the topic of veganism, didn't you, Christina, have an observation or a criticism of Morgue making veganism a mainstream, like in the limelight of Hyperianism? Like that is it's one of the biggest flags in Hyperianism is the vegan flag. That's like a huge part. He wrote transitional veganism
Transitional veganism. Yeah.
before
Yeah.
before before he wrote the ontological mathematics book. So that kind of shows you where the priorities are for Morgue. But I know you might have had some comments on that.
Yeah. So Corey's reason for, because there's lots of different reasons people can use to be vegan, and like valid reasons, like climate change, but his particular reason was to prevent unnecessary suffering. What about the unnecessary suffering of the working class, that the children that go hungry, the homeless, people that can't afford their medications, people? Why are they not prioritized? If you want to talk about unnecessary suffering,
Yeah.
predatory capitalism is causing all this unnecessary suffering. And this is, part of what the PI talks about. It's about instituting this, this meritocracy with compassion. And I think it was you, Nick, who when we had a conversation about it, that it was what did you say? I don't remember now. About
well, I said if you're a movement about liberating humanity and raising consciousness and waking people up, like all these things Morgue claims, and your priority is not humans, then you're not a serious movement. And when you prioritize veganism in the way that he has, that's essentially a red herring, because cows are being farmed, that sucks, but like people are being farmed for their labor. And if that's not the priority of your liberating humanity movement, then you get the fuck out of here. That's a joke. And it just further shows it's all about Morgue's image as this woke messiah who doesn't eat animals except when he wants sushi, because he also encouraged people in his secret live streams, like when I feel like it, I'll have salmon sushi like for a shadow day. And, it's like, well, then you're not vegan. So even that is just a facade. It's just, it's to make it's again, it's a narcissistic supply. It's so that he gets the vegans to come in and say, you're so great. We love you. Thank you for everything you're doing. And then he's like ordering salmon as soon as he gets off the live stream. It's ridiculous. So yeah,
it's all aesthetic maneuvers in order like to contribute to his constructing of the ideal sort of like presentation for like his followers, for his donors, pretty much. The most he's constructed the most agreeable persona, pretty much, that will ensure further cash flow.
Yes. This is what the AC have been writing about, this false self of this persona that is Morgue, not Corey. Corey was an unwanted child who was abused by his mother, powerless, weak. Morgue is this woke messiah, world-shaping vegan, with great hair, and it's not even a real person; it's a mask, and the mask runs the show, and it's he's a slave to that mask because his narcissism needs that. It needs validation, external validation from all these vulnerable people. And that's all it's ever been for Morgue. And that's why, when you bring legitimate criticism to him, and that's why when you call him out on well, why isn't your priority human suffering? He shuts you down and doesn't listen because it wasn't ever his real goal, anything for humanity or logic and reason. It was always going to be how to create this fantasy world for him to be this messiah in.
I think that when you are conversing with like a fake, like a mask, pretty much, when you were like, you think you're talking to a fellow human being, but you're really talking to just like this fake construct, it can be like a very unsettling experience, I think. And they're like, there's some very, very off and very wrong. He never I didn't talk to him like one-on-one really, I think, ever. Like Susan was there a couple times when we like had a back and forth, but it wasn't a lot. But every time I did, I was kind of conversing with him directly. There was always like this kind of like very odd sensation of like something was off, something was not right. He was like trying to convey himself like a compassionate, normal human being, but he was not that. He was like a like a false self trying to mimic an actual self, pretty much like a false version, a construct that you have made that is designed to um, entice, get you supply, and that is supposed to like fool everyone's a guard when they're talking to you, thinking that you're like a normal person. But like it became clear, I think, after a while, that he was someone who like did not respect um the personhood or the thoughts of someone else. It was kind of like every answer, every question you would ask him, every answer was always given in like damage control mode. You never got the sense that you were like conversing with an actual human, someone with like actual human emotions and feelings and desires and like their own thoughts and like trying to work things out, trying someone who can see the humanity in you and then kind of like react to that like how normal people do, pretty much. That was not there, and like for so long I just made excuses for it. Like in my mind I was like, oh well, I don't really know him that well, and maybe he's just introverted and like anxious and goth or whatever. Like I
Yeah,
mean,
there's not a him to know. Like that
yeah,
that
exactly.
yeah. That oh, thank you so much for that $50. Here, let me change the lights. That's what's driving the that's what's in the driver's seat. Like that there's not a real like substance there. But yeah,
Yeah,
Christina?
and it's thank you so much, my friend. Thank you,
Mm,
my friend. If you send him money, suddenly you're his friend.
yeah.
Which I was noticing him doing, starting to do increasingly, is tacking on that, my friend. So not only are these super chats the shout outs that his fans crave, but it's also being called his friend,
Mm.
Yeah.
which really kind of made me cringe every time
Yeah, it's
we would
it's
do
an
that.
ex,
And
it's an extra step of gross for him to,
it
just
is, yeah,
um
yeah.
okay, well, we have actually gone into this a lot, but just to ask you explicitly, do you have any outstanding moments that displayed the true character of either Morgue or Susan?
Yes.
Christina? Yes.
Um, okay. This is the first edition of Path of Shadow. I got a copy of it 2 days before it was released, and obviously for me, I went right to the section on reason where the math is, and I'm reading it, and I thought, holy shit, he did the Fourier transform and inverse Fourier transform formulas incorrectly, and I went to him in a panic. The math was wrong, and I said, you forgot the differentials at the ends of these formulas. And you can't do that. And I know not everyone is versed in calculus, but I want to give a brief explanation why. So the Fourier transform and the inverse Fourier transform, you're integrating. That's what's going on in those formulas. An integration is part of calculus. It's integral calculus. And the differential tells you what variable you're integrating with respect to.
So wait, let me ask you this really quickly. I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify. In the first edition of Path of Shadow, he got the math wrong for the Fourier transforms and published that with the math wrong. And his entire, everything he says has to be backed up by these equations being right. Otherwise, he's full of shit. And he didn't even think to like proofread the equations clearly. Or maybe he doesn't know the math. You know, that's a very real possibility. He just wants to use the math as a vehicle for his cult. That's a very real possibility. But that just seems like that seems like the thing you should quadruple check. And it's crazy. You know? Yeah.
And you know, because the integrands have two variables in them. They have frequency and time, or if you prefer, space-time, probably more accurately space-time. And he forgot these differentials to let you know what you're integrating with respect to. And so for the Fourier transform, you're integrating with respect to time. But if you don't have that differential there, you don't know that. And then, you know, for the inverse Fourier transform, you're integrating with respect to frequency. But we don't know that because it's not in the book. I even wrote them in, you know, it's like, come on, you know, put the differential in there. I don't know if you can see it in there, but I wrote in the differential.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go to him in a panic saying you forgot the differential, the differentials for both of them. And he said, don't worry, Christina, you're probably the only one that's going to notice.
That's crazy.
That was his answer. I expected his answer to be like, "Oh, holy shit!"
Right, or
I fucked up.
Yeah, or thank you. You know, that would be a good one too. Yeah.
No, there was none of that. It was just, you're the only one that'll notice, and no, thank you, no, thank you.
That kind of answer, it really shows his character right there. It shows that he is not only he's not concerned with this, but he relies on the ignorance and mathematical illiteracy of his following. He counts on that. That's kind of that's his whole thing, is like people that have no idea what he's talking about. So even if he has no idea what he's talking about and saying these equations in the wrong way, no one's going to challenge him, and he doesn't even care if they're wrong. But that's just disgusting. It really shows a lot about Morgue as a person, and his intentions.
He did correct it in the subsequent editions, you know, because I pointed it out to him. So yeah, there's that. And I just can't emphasize how meaningless those equations are if you don't know what you're integrating with respect to. And then there's the, I'm just grabbing it, the ontological mathematics book. You're all familiar with this, I hope. The Hyperians are, and Illuminists are. Okay, so there's a section in this book called Inside a Monad. And on page 59, he states, integers are whole numbers. No, they're not.
Right. So
again, I was just like,
integers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's
and 0. Yeah, it's
Okay.
And whole numbers are, there's no negative. It's negatives. It's just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I see that sentence, and then later on, like a couple pages later, he says a monad contains frequencies of every possible value, which are all integer, in parentheses, whole numbers, whole number, blah, 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 blah. No, and again, that's wrong. He's trying to use them interchangeably, which they 100% are not. They're two distinct types of numbers. And then he also gave examples. He said, and I'm just going to read it: 1, 27, 5, -8, -16, and 72,561 are all whole numbers. No, they're not. -8 and -16, those are not whole numbers, those are integers. So while we were preparing for this video that we're making, I went and I got the Kindle version and I looked in it. Oh, first of all, I got to tell you, I went to him and I said, "Holy shit, more mistakes."
Yeah.
And his response was, "Well, I was using whole number in the colloquial sense. You can't do that in a math book where you're defining these things, you know. Whole
Yeah.
numbers are one thing, integers are another thing. You can't." I don't know what he was thinking by saying I was just using it whole number colloquially. And this is very important because what he's talking about, you know, inside a monad is all the possible frequencies of the waves, and it's all integers except for 0. Again, okay. So I'm sorry. I'm going to calm down a little bit here because this was something I was very upset about. That these errors were here. And I looked in the Kindle version and he has corrected 2 of the 3 errors I just pointed out. I don't know if he's corrected it in the physical copy. It's possible he has because I got on Google and found out that if it's less than 10% that you're changing, you don't have to create a second edition. But the in my Kindle version, there's still one error there, the one where he lists -8 and -16 as as whole numbers when they're actually integers. So again, he dismissed it like it was no big deal, and there was never any gratitude, never any, "Oh, thank you for pointing out my mistake. I'll go fix it." It was just he just brushed it off.
Yeah, but he did go and fix it because he was wrong and you were right. And
Yeah, not that he ever acknowledged that.
Yeah, if you were wrong, he wouldn't have went and fixed it, but he did. That's disgusting for him to have treated you that way when you were just trying to help. You were like, "Hey, you know, I am the math expert in your order, and here's a mathematical mistake you've made." And he's like, "Oh, whatever, you know, no one's gonna notice." That's terrible.
And this is from Algebra 1. And you know, just for those who don't know, I have, you know, 25 years experience in private tutoring, middle school and high school. And, you know, Algebra 1 is something kids are now taking in typically in the 8th grade. So Algebra 1. And Susan, who was the editor for both of these books, has also supposedly had Algebra 1, and she didn't catch it either.
Yeah, well, the Corey not understanding is explainable because he didn't go to school, so he never made, you know, he never said integers and whole numbers interchangeably and got corrected ever in his life. But you know, Susan apparently did, and I don't know. I just think if you're gonna base your entire knowledge system, you know, like if you're going to base your whole thing on the certainty of these equations, that should be the priority of anything you're publishing with equations, is making sure that your equations are correct, your definitions of what types of numbers are correct. Like that just, to me, seems like the first thing you should do. The first thing Corey wanted to do for himself was create a giant following to feed his narcissism. So obviously he looked over the math. If this were all a serious movement about elevating human consciousness, then he would have made sure those were correct, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, if it were above board, like you said, like, yeah, making sure that we're correct, but also the what you were saying about never acknowledging being wrong, or like thanking you for the correction. Like, I can speak to that, like, not that I corrected him on that exact same thing, but elsewhere in my interactions, when I've like gently corrected something, or saying, well, actually, like, no, it's like this or something like that, there's like a supreme like hesitancy and like unwillingness to accept there was like any wrongdoing on his part, which is like very telling, I think, in regards to like who Corey is as a person, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, thank you for sharing those. That is exclusive insider information. Let me just remind anyone that would be watching this. That is something that is just that's behind the scenes. That is the inner workings of how Corey treats people that gave him everything and only wanted to help him. You only wanted him to say, "Oh, wow, that's a thing. That's a mistake that should not be in this book at all. That's not a typo. That is a serious mistake. Thank you." And this is who Corey really is. This is how he treats people.
He couldn't acknowledge that he made a mistake, and he couldn't apologize for it. And I'm trying to remember some of the AC posts about narcissism is the inability to be wrong, and the difficulty with apologies because it made you weak or something like that. I haven't read those for a while, so
Yeah,
not that they were that long ago, but it was like a month ago, I think.
well, it's all about upkeeping this grandiose sense of self who's a perfect or near perfect, or, always getting closer to perfect, woke messiah, that he is this false self, and so for him to be wrong it's too real. It's too much like, Corey. It's not like Morgue. Yeah, and yeah,
Especially that it was brought to attention by an underling or something like that, I would imagine also played into it.
yeah.
Because like other human beings are like seen by the dark triad type is like being just mere insects or something in comparison to yourself. So like for you to correct him, like it's an insect correcting a god, why would he ever apologize to you, or why would he ever admit wrongdoing? I think that is pretty close to it. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, so there you go. There's my my rant about
Thank you.
that. Yeah.
So as far as my outstanding moments, I think some of them kind of bleed over from the previous thing we were talking about, the experience as a mod. But there's just some more things that I had. So there was a policy. It was kind of like unspoken or unwritten, but it was like sort of like nod, like wink, nod. We know what this is, but it was this policy of like not banning members from YouTube, or like donors, or like if someone were a Patreon, that would be extremely frowned upon. And for a while there, we had this thing. I think it was last year or something, or like 2021 rather. But it was a thing where like YouTube members, there was a couple that were like really kind of like getting out of hand and speaking out of turn, and like not really behaving in a correct and good way that we would want to see. So I think I banned one, and there was someone else maybe who banned another one. There were YouTube members, and I remember that was a thing that we kind of had to talk about, how we, it wasn't so emphatic as to be like a concrete rule, but it was highly suggested that we don't ever ban pretty much the sources of the money coming in, the sources of the cash flow. They were allowed to just like be around, and as long as they don't like start doing anything extreme or something like that, just deal with them, tolerate them. Which that right there points like I was kind of like, huh? At the time, I didn't really like, I was like, but like now, looking back on it, it makes total sense. Especially as like a continuation of what we were saying before, where it's, there was never any desire to improve the quality of person or maintain quality movement or a quality community. It was never about that. It was about, hey, who are you? I don't care. Do you have money? You want to give it to me? Then you will do, pretty much. And that's all it ever was. That's all it ever is. I would say another one that really kind of like bothered me is like the refusal of Corey to engage or like answer questions honestly, like in like a good faith way, so to speak. There was like this. He was one of the early updates the AC had made. He was still pretty early on, and there was one they wrote. It was like very incendiary. It was like there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of accusations. There was like stuff to be responded to. There was a lot there, and in one of the elements in that post was a quote from NK, who was the former leader of online illuminism, and they were saying that he was talking about like his he was like recounting his encounter with Morgue Corey in Hollywood, I think, and like how Corey like always had to use the restroom, and like there was like this weird kind of behavior that was being recalled. And then he also said something like, his teeth were fragile and transparent, or something like that, or like I'm paraphrasing, but it's something along those lines. And that was only one part of like a huge update. There was only just it was given as an example, just like look at like, hey, here's what this person says about Corey. Can we like what does anything here cause us any alarm or any questions? Can we like pretty much use this to understand who he is better? But like I said, there was accusations and everything. And in Discord, someone asked Corey, like, hey, have you seen this update from the AC? Do you think that maybe we should respond to it? Do you think that that would be a good idea to like, there's some pretty serious accusations contained in there. And Corey's response was that I don't think I need to respond to the question of whether or not I have transparent teeth. And like that was it. That was like his like answer. And it like, I mean, anyone who's like engaging honestly with like any sort of their critics or any sort of like people who are suggesting maybe ways things could be done differently, you don't in a very bad faith way, you don't focus on one element of the entire argument and just and like try and play up how that is ridiculous and how therefore that invalidates the entire rest of the argument. So, but just by saying they said I have transparent teeth, can you believe that? Like it's like, no, dude, there's way more for you to respond to within that. And that is one example of how this sort of deception by way of omission.
Yeah, no, he hyper focused on one like very easily dismissible detail and like used that to like blanket over all of the other accusations and
Yeah.
say, like people are saying he's a plagiarist, he's this, that, and also he has transparent teeth. And then he goes, well, I don't have transparent teeth, and then like doesn't acknowledge the other ones. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's what you're saying.
And always trying to distort people's perceptions of him and of events, and manipulating that way is the other way that he uses a lot, like just by saying, oh, they said this, can you believe how crazy they are, without like really engaging with what is being said. You're like, what's that whole cherry picking thing he used to do, or he still does, where he cherry picks certain quotes that serve his agenda, his narrative, to what he wants to be said, the picture he wants to paint, but he's ignoring the overall context and the overall meaning behind the entire thing. The questions that were on my mind at the very end there, and it was like, my question for Corey was that, where exactly is this going? Like, have you stopped working on your book, like that Hyperian Bible he was talking about? And like, yeah, go ahead. What?
And because I was thinking about that earlier too. Is he still writing that book? And who's going to correct the math for him this time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what's even gonna be in it at this point? Like what is he? Because I think he's aware too that like that is going to be his like really big next strategic move in terms of what Hyperianism is going to be, what he wants to make it. Like after this whole like Illuminism dispute, like, is he going to move away from Monmouth? Like, I mean, what is his next course of action, pretty much? And the Hyperian Bible was you both, I think, have heard. It was like this huge section on politics, and like the politics of Hyperianism and of New Terra and of all this stuff. So I was like, the minute he said that, I was like, okay, I really want to read that, because like I have my own political views, and I want to know what it is that you were saying is the official stance of Hyperians, because I just want to know. And so like that was my question, like where it's going. Are you still working on the book? And all this was said to Susan on Zoom, and Susan said that Corey, it was something along the lines of like, Corey needed more supporters, or he needed to increase his like patrons or something in order for that to happen. And like,
Why?
exactly, that was my question. Like, why would you need more monetary support just to write a book? Like, wouldn't you expect, if this book is going to be as good as you say it is, wouldn't you expect to write the book first and draw people that way? Like, I mean, why would you need to secure more donors to even write it in the first place? I never asked him that, but like that was one of the things that was on my head. And the final thing was that I started on the Hyperion source. I wanted to know what his political views were, but I had started on the source to pretty much talk about my own political views. And like, I brought up like Adam Curtis and like things like that, and like how, we don't want to endorse band-aid solutions. We want systemic overhaul. We want a complete overthrow of the system. So I told Susan, I was like, this book is supposed to come out and it's supposed to outline the entire Hyperian political system. And like, when is that happening? Because what I've been doing, I've been pretty much talking about my own views and my own political system on this live stream, on these live streams. sort of like acting or pretending like that is the official Hyperian position, and like I was unclear on that. And Susan was like, "Oh well, um, I'm sure you're what'd she say? Uh, I'm sure your values are fine." So to me, it's like that's like a bullshit answer, but like to me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what you were saying about the math errors, like how like oh like it'll be fine. It's not many people are gonna notice, or like it's just the colloquial usage of that term. Don't worry about it. You know, that kind of thing where it's like, okay, wait a second here, like wait a fucking minute, like this is no longer um intellectually worthwhile if you're giving answers like that, like oh I'm sure it's fine, you know, like I mean you this is like what the fuck is this? So anyway, those were my two things. I just kind of said them briefly right there, but that was all I had pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds like they don't respect either of you, you know, like at all. It's like it's just like a yeah, it's like a little like, shove you off to bed, you know. It's like let the adults handle, like don't ask questions of things that don't concern you, that kind of attitude
And
of
the adults in this case were Corey and Susan, and they had their like Zooms or like whatever meetings, and they would like strategize and like figure out what way forward was going to be used. And the rest of us were like the children, like, oh, like, don't worry about that. It's fine. You've like you were saying, you know, like you've done your part for the day. Now go on to bed, pretty much.
Yeah, that's so rude, and just it shows, again, this is hindsight vision, but it shows that these people were using you for your talents, and both of you for your talents, and that was it. It wasn't it wasn't a two-way street. It was you guys contribute, and then if you have any concerns or any like in any moment where you guys meet as equals, they were just shoved aside, like at every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you both very much for sharing those outstanding moments and your experience as moderators. You know, this is the kind of stuff that Hyperians and people interested in Hyperianism need to hear. They need to hear what it's like working for Morgue and Susan, how you were treated, and whether or not you were respected, which clearly you weren't, and hopefully that comes across to Hyperians and people that are interested in it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I have a third question for you. What do you think of Morg's defense that using Aunt Math, which is authored by the Pythagorean Illuminati, Mike Hockney, the Armageddon Conspiracy, those are all the different names for the same group of authors. What do you think of his defense, where he says teaching that is the same as teaching calculus, or that it's just like calculus in his words? How would you respond to that?
Well, I think that it's ridiculous. Like what he's saying is that calculus or geometry or something like that is like no one owns. It's taught in universities, so he should be able to teach whatever he likes. But the issue is that on math, like you said, originated and developed and discovered by the AC authors, is not exactly like that. It's not a worthy comparison. So for me, considering that I sort of come from the world of music, the easiest inroad, the door into understanding this, how I would think about this, I guess, would just be to like imagine an example where I create a song. I create my own song, and in the process of doing this, I utilize music theory, the knowledge that I have accrued over the years, whether that be harmony, melody, intervals, the spaces between the notes, chords, whatever. I mix it and I do all this stuff, and the end result is my song. But those elements that I drew from, I did not own. I don't own music theory. I don't own the circle of fifths. I don't like any of these concepts. I have no ownership over. Anyone can use them, but the final product, what I put together, is mine. It's my IP, intellectual property. It's my this collection of notes brought together, played the way they are, and presented the way they are, is mine. That is what is mine. I've like taken other things and used them to help me, but the final product is my it's my song. But you think of it as like my system overall, my suggestion on like how to present this collection of notes. It's my expression, it's my statement. That is what belongs to me. So to say that, this song that I made is not really mine because no one owns music is a similar, to me, it's a similar argument to what Corey is trying to say, that on math is fine for him to use because it's just like calculus and no one owns calculus. It's a complete misunderstanding of the issue at hand. It's brushing something off in a laughable way that is not accurate at all. Real quick though, I could even expand on that a little bit. So like I have the song that I made using my knowledge of things I don't own, but the final product is mine. It's my IP. So let's say someone offers to help, let's say they hear it, they're excited about it, they believe in it, and let's say they offer to help promote that song online or something like that, so like to do their part to try and like get my music out there, right? And I agree to it because like why not, that'd be cool. But let's say this person gradually, eventually stops giving me credit, or credits me in like very suspect ways, where it's like this kind of like it raises this question of like, oh, did this person write the song or did I write it? Like it creates this doubt, this like sort of like they're using this sort of like ignorance as to their own advantage by making people think that, oh, maybe this person wrote it, maybe he's sharing his own song when really it's mine. And then if that person then tried to say that, oh, hey, well, it's not really stealing, it's not really plagiarism because no one owns music, no one owns the concept of songs, like so like that, it's just ridiculous, it's absurd. So yeah, that's my example.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yes, I mean, that's exactly what it is, and just because this is on the topic of ontological mathematics, we went ahead and asked the authors themselves what they think of this argument, and we got an amazing response that we would like to share with you, the viewers. And in order to keep the flow of conversation, we're going to split up the points made, the major points in the AC's response to Morgue's "It's like calculus" claim. And it starts off pretty much with what Jewel said, along the lines of an artist and their own song. So that's a great starting point. And I will go ahead with the first point we have here from the AC. And again, this is from the AC themselves, the authors. So it's like someone who has copied someone's song claiming that no one owns music, or someone who pirates books claiming that no one owns knowledge. These arguments are comical. What people own is intellectual property, and that's something that's legally protected. Corey is violating our intellectual property. No ifs and no buts. And they go on to say, it's plagiarism. The most famous plagiarism dispute in history was when Newton accused Leibniz of falsely claiming to have invented calculus. Leibniz was the first person to publish work on calculus, but Newton was the first to do work unpublished on calculus. Today, the consensus is that they developed calculus independently. In the world today, 100% of university mathematics departments address the subject of abstract mathematics as an abstraction. There is only one place in the world where the subject of ontological mathematics is addressed, and that's within Illuminism. Ontological mathematics is the centerpiece of the unique answer to existence provided by the secret society, the Pythagorean Illuminati. Pythagoras was the founder of ontological mathematics. So again, they're not talking about abstract math like calculus, right? They're not talking about what universities teach. They're talking about the ontology of math, which is an idea that nobody else has presented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll go ahead and pass the next points on to Jewel can go.
Okay. Pythagoras regarded reality as mathematical, not material, with mathematics being the basis of mind. This worldview has been continuously developed over 2,500 years by the PI. No one else has ever worked on these ideas. So, speaking about Corey, they say his task was to communicate the ideas of the Pythagorean Illuminati. His job was to be the messenger. He had their permission to communicate their ideas, their intellectual property. He was obviously given no permission at all to corrupt their work, distort their work, misrepresent their work, and above all, he was given no permission to claim that he had anything at all to do with the development of Aunt Math. He did not.
That's absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
Christina, do you want to read the part about what he has claimed?
Yeah. Let's take a look at what Corey has claimed. He wrote, quote, "Ontological mathematics was originally leaked to the public via a controversial hidden society operating under various pseudonyms. Ontological mathematics wasn't leaked by anyone. It was explicitly published into the public arena by authors of the Pythagorean Illuminati. What sane person refers to publishing books for everyone to read as leaking? The leaking claim is a 100% lie. Publishing is not leaking." He said, "Since then, it has taken the world by storm." What? This is news to us. This is yet another absolute lie. No one talks about ontological mathematics other than the Pythagorean Illuminati and those associated people who have been part of the online Illuminist scene, most especially Corey. Corey wrote, "Nearly 100 books have been written about it by various authors, and independent ontological mathematics research groups are appearing around the world." This is yet another total lie. All of the books written about ontological mathematics have been by authors of the Pythagorean Illuminati and only two other people, NK, former leader of online Illuminism, and Corey, appointed to be the leader of the replacement for online Illuminism, namely Hyperianism. There are 0 independent research groups appearing around the world. We simply ask anyone to name one. There isn't one. Corey wrote, "Ontological mathematics and Hyperianism is a global phenomenon." Another total lie. Ontological mathematics isn't a global phenomenon, and nor is Hyperianism. Hyperianism has around 250 fanatical cult followers who are personal fans of Corey. Corey wrote, "We have made the groundbreaking knowledge of our system available to all by introducing the reader to the foundational concepts of ontological mathematics in an accessible way." Who is we? We are the Pythagorean Illuminati. Without the Pythagorean Illuminati, there would be no Corey talking about ontological mathematics.
Absolutely not. I just want to say that's he says also of our system as if he was part of that. That's disgusting. It's not our system, it's theirs, you know? Like why he's inserting himself as if he has something to do with it. It's terrible.
He was given permission by the PI, by the authors, to try to bring this information out there.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? He started off trying to bring it out there.
He only did the bare minimum of bringing it out there to initiate this cult that has answers. You know, he took their answers and made his cult. Because again, I don't know if you remember this. Again, his job was to be messenger, right? Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
He started Hyperianism. He was the herald. Right? That's what he called himself, the herald, right?
Yeah.
When
that.
When was the last time you heard him refer to himself as a messenger or the herald? And also,
a long time.
When was the last time you heard him refer to himself as a god or as God? Like last
quite
stream,
recently.
Every stream, right? Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna pick up some more points here. The world refers to Newtonian physics and Einsteinian physics. Ontological mathematics will be referred to as Pythagorean ontological mathematics for obvious reasons, and everyone will know it's about the worldview of the Pythagorean Illuminati. It will have absolutely nothing to do with Hyperianism and Corey, Morgue. Newton was responsible for Newtonian physics, Einstein was responsible for Einsteinian physics, and the Pythagorean Illuminati are responsible for Pythagorean ontological mathematics. Corey has literally zero to do with the development of ontological mathematics, yet he is trying to insert himself into this. It would be the equivalent of him trying to claim that he should be credited alongside Newton or Einstein in relation to Newtonian physics or Einsteinian physics. It's utterly comical. Of course, what has happened here is that Corey hates the radical philosophy of the Pythagorean Illuminati and wants to present his own hyper-woke ideology. He loves the ontological mathematics of the Pythagorean Illuminati, and this is essential to his Hyperian worldview. Corey, backed up by Susan Mitchell and others, wants to say that he has surveyed many different fields, and one of the things he came across was ontological mathematics, and this is just one small element in the grand synthesis that he, Corey, is responsible for, making him the greatest genius in the world. Seriously, this is what he's going for. He ignores the fact that all the parts of his grand synthesis, any parts that are any good, are already present in the 20 million word grand synthesis of the Pythagorean Illuminati, published across more than 200 books. But hardly any Hyperians have read these books, and Corey knows that and relies on it. He knows that they will believe that these are his ideas, and that's what he needs them to believe to get narcissistic supply from them. Yeah, that's absolutely true. This is just, there can be no mistaking what's going on here. After you read this, there's absolutely no mistaking what's going on. So I will stop there and let Jewel pick it up.
But Corey on his own website has already blown himself up. He wrote, the author of the Unity document, Morgue, came into contact with what have been called secret societies and is bringing a system of timeless knowledge to the public so that the world and its people may reach the next step of their evolution and become whole. We are presenting to you a hidden system of unity that has existed timelessly. It was given to the highest minds of your people, where it was guarded in secret to be protected from fracture. So that was Corey's quote right there about the Unity document. So the PI say, here we have Corey's own admission that others, secret societies, as he says, which of course are actually just the Pythagorean Illuminati, are the source of his knowledge. He talks about the system being given to the highest minds of your people. It wasn't given to anyone. What, by aliens? It was developed by the Pythagorean Illuminati over thousands of years. It had nothing at all to do with Corey. All that anyone has to do is read the books of Mike Hockney, Dr. Thomas Stark, and the other PI authors, and they will find all of the substantive content Corey relies on. He has 100% gambled on people not being aware of this background, and he has gotten away with it as far as his Hyperian cultists are concerned. They are personally invested in him, not in Onmath, which is extremely true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw in there that during one of the secret streams before I left, someone specifically asked a question about something in Hockney's book, The Omega Point, and he ignored it. And the private live streams are very small. There's plenty of time to answer questions like that, and he ignored it, which I thought was telling.
Yeah,
I just wanted to interject that.
That's the result of him slowly phasing out the any mention of the authors. I think, in fact, I'm not sure of this. Maybe you guys know. The words Mike Hockney are banned from the chat. Yeah. Because I had a sock puppet and I went and I said, "Who is Mike Hockney?" And Morg's face went like it just went, And then I tried it again like a month later or something like that, and my chat wouldn't go through. So I figured that's what happened.
They must have a list of banned words now. I don't know how YouTube works with like what words. Like I'm assuming, I don't know how exactly that works, but I wonder if like FBI is banned.
There's a lot of I'd have to go back and look, but FBI is banned. POTUS, I think, is banned. Anything to do with like firearms or ammunition or something along those lines, that's banned as well. There's more, but the point there, I think, is that these told the mods and everyone showing up to those streams, that behavior of not letting people ask their questions and like concealing the truth is justified to them, to the other mods and to the cultists, because they view it now as trolling. It's their new definition of trolling. Whereas like, Corey's always saying, "Oh, ask me anything. Never believe anyone, just always ask questions." People ask him questions that are pointed and, hard hitting and, might actually rock the boat a little bit and disturb the waters. And that is ignored and blocked because that is considered trolling in his universe. Just the desire for the truth to be known is now trolling to the Hyperians. So, I mean, I haven't checked. I'm sure my name is blocked now too, along with Rowan's, and I assume yours, Christina, I think. And that again, that would be another example of trolling, just to bring any one of those people up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah. Okay.
So this next one here, I think, goes well. The next 2 points go well together. So I'm just gonna leave that for whoever's next.
Okay.
Corey and Susan have argued that ontological mathematics is like calculus. It's nothing like calculus. Calculus is a mathematical tool, a very powerful one, but just one of many powerful mathematical tools. Ontological mathematics is the answer to existence. Ontological mathematics solves the problem of Cartesian substance dualism, the most intractable problem of philosophy. It explains being and becoming. It explains the eternal and necessary versus the temporal and contingent. It explains universals versus particulars. It explains dimensionlessness and dimensionality, zero entropy versus entropy, absolute zero, perpetual motion, superconductivity, antimatter. It explains how a singularity creates space-time. It explains holism versus partism. It explains free will. It explains Gödel's incompleteness theorem. It explains syntax and semantics, form and content, and so many other things, including the complete replacement of scientific materialism and empiricism by mathematical idealism and rationalism. It's the ultimate paradigm shift. Calculus does none of that. But of course, Corey and Susan, in their sinister, disingenuous way, simply try to produce any old nonsense arguments to justify stealing the work of others and pretending it's theirs.
Incredible. Yeah. Thanks for reading that one. I'm gonna pick it up. That's
Okay.
yeah. Only the Pythagorean Illuminati ever assigned an ontology to mathematics and designated mathematics the foundation of existence, the fiber and fabric of existence, and the ontological expression of the supreme explanatory principle, the principle of sufficient reason, providing a reason for why everything is the way it is and not otherwise. It's as sure as hell that none of these ideas come from Corey and his Hyperion cult. There is no one on earth other than the Pythagorean Illuminati who has ever thought of sinusoids as thoughts and give them both a syntax and a semantics, form and content, a rational component and an empirical component. We, of course, don't own the answer to existence, but we certainly discovered it and were the first to do so, and no one else did. And that means that everyone until the death of the human race must acknowledge it, just as they acknowledge Newton, Einstein, Plato, Descartes, and all the decisive thinkers. You can be 100% sure that no one will be adding Corey and Hyperianism to the list, since they literally had nothing to do with anything. Anyone who refuses to acknowledge this, and by that we mean literally that whenever they use our ideas, they must reference us and our work and our authors. If they fail to do so, they are plagiarists, like Corey, who actively campaigns against our work and is plotting to cancel our books. Only an insane person, and Corey is truly insane, would believe he could get away with the astonishing act of plagiarism in which he is engaged. How many universities teach calculus? All of them. How many universities teach ontological mathematics? None of them. So, Any claim that ontological mathematics is just like calculus is insanely falsified by that fact alone. Never mind any other considerations. The calculus taught in universities has no connection to philosophy and the answer to existence.
There was something in there that was particularly alarming to me, and that was about Corey's plotting to cancel the PI's books.
He can't get away with that. He's just waving that, that woke flag where if he points and says bigotry, he's counting on his following to not think critically and not examine whether or not those claims are true and not actually read the books for themselves. He's counting on people to just take his word for it because they love him. And
Yeah.
his 250 worshipers aren't going to cancel the Illuminati. Like, if it went, really large and to a really public story and YouTubers were covering it, enough people would examine the content and say, no, this is not bigoted. This is actually awesome. And it would be over like that. The only people that are not doing that are people that worship Corey in the first place.
That's only like an aesthetic solution, like to try and scapegoat. Like it's you're like the fanatics are hopping on board the Corey bandwagon because he is saying that. Then like, okay, that sounds good. We'll just go with that. They don't. I don't think that many of them actually believe what they're saying. Like when they make these accusations, they're just like saying, okay, this sounds good. We'll just go with that. Like, for example, Joanna Laguna, she is like plenty of experience with these works and with these books. And she was like completely like on the side of Corey and endorsing that. So it's like I just wonder, like, does someone like that actually believe like some of this drivel, like that they're bigots and stuff like that? I mean, they hurt feelings for sure. So I mean, in today's world, that might be, someone might try to make that argument that like that is bad enough, worthy of cancellation. But in terms of these arguments that have been presented, that like German bigot, like all this stuff, like I mean, I just wonder like how many of these followers actually believe that, or like if they've actually thought about that, and like how the question comes up, like, okay, if what you're saying is true, if what you're saying is the case, then why would you have ever agreed to work with these people? Why, like that connection in the very beginning has never been explained by him. So that was just kind of a side note. Sorry.
No, that's amazing. I would say, I think in the case of Joanna, and you pointed out also in your exit letter that people like Joanna, they're like in love with Corey, like they're infatuated. So, I would say it probably doesn't matter. They probably don't think either way, yeah, it's just if Corey says something, they're gonna just, yeah.
What a horrible way to live. Like what a horrible existence. You're just like just swinging from one moment to the next, waiting to be told what next thing you will think, what is the correct thing to do and the correct position to have at all times, just like always deferring to someone else. Like, okay, no, whatever you say, it's ridiculous. But
it is.
Yeah.
The PI mentioned in their analysis of his pathological narcissism that he's only dominant to extreme submissives. Like nobody, like nobody that's like a little bit submissive, but thinks for themselves and is in Hyperianism. It's extreme submissives. It's extremely vulnerable people, and that's the only people he has control over as their thought control anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's bad, but that says something too. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not good. Okay. So So, in a nutshell, the Pythagorean Illuminati, and only the Pythagorean Illuminati, discovered the absolute answer to existence. And no one can now, until the end of history, not acknowledge that fact when they refer to the ideas produced by them, by the PI. If they fail to acknowledge them as the source of this entire worldview, this entire mathematical answer to existence, then they are automatically plagiarists. And that's exactly what Corey is. He is claiming that this worldview was something he devised. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Corey. He contributed zero to this answer to existence and has no capacity to make any contribution. He has, in fact, committed numerous egregious fallacies and staggering errors in his constant misinterpretations and misrepresentations of Aunt Math.
Absolutely.
Corey, of course, has never been to university, so has no clue about what you are allowed to claim and what you cannot claim. You cannot claim you have made any contribution to ideas that you have provably made no contribution to, since those ideas provably exist in the public domain before you ever arrived in this scene. We solved the problem of Cartesian dualism that is named after Descartes, of course. Nothing will ever be named after Corey because he made no contribution to anything. No one owns anything regarding reality, that's for sure. What people certainly do own is intellectual property, and ontological mathematics is the PI, intellectual property, and anyone who plagiarizes our work is guilty of violating our intellectual property and breach of copyright. People can, of course, refer to our work, properly acknowledged. What they cannot do is pass off our work as theirs, and that's precisely what Corey does every time he talks in public. And just for clarification, every time I was saying our in that paragraph, I was referring to the Pythagorean Illuminati.
Yes, of course. Yes. And funnily enough, calculus was itself the source of a plagiarism dispute. Leibniz and Newton were two of the greatest geniuses of all time. Corey is not. Corey has no intellectual property. He has not originated any ideas. He is a copyist. He is a plagiarist. This is not something that anyone can seriously debate. No one owns music, but every musician owns their songs. And what is music operationally except the collection of expressions of music, songs, symphonies, and so on? No one else can copy them without permission. No one owns mathematics, but everyone who develops new fields in mathematics intellectually owns those new fields, and no one can copy them without permission. Corey has no permission. Corey copies others illegally. This is all 100% factual. That's awesome. So yeah, I think that there can be no question as to whether or not Corey's defense, holds any weight or is in any way an honest defense. It's manipulative. They know better, and if they didn't, well, here you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not a defense at all. It's masquerading as a defense, but it's absurd.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, and now I hope that whenever anyone encounters that, they laugh. And then there's this video to reference if they ever need to explain why and have forgotten. But yeah, it's not a defense, like you said. Okay. Well, I think let's move on to the next part.
Okay.
I would love to show you guys a comparison of how Morgue and Hyperianism started versus where it is now, what it became. I think that comparison is it's not only cringe and entertaining and all that, but it's very important for viewers, especially new Hyperians or people that are interested in it, to see this, because this video Morgue deleted from their YouTube. This was just on some internet archive. This is how Morgue started. This is Morgue when the Pythagorean Illuminati was writing his scripts.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so he didn't even write this video, that this is because, again, he was supposed to be the messenger. So this is how it started, when he was the messenger. I'm going to pull up the video, and then we'll look at what Hyperianism, what he turned it into.
The scientists of this world will never understand reality until they ditch their faith in the flawed interpretation of the senses and instead embrace the rational existence of a mathematical reality, one that completely supports a non-physical, immaterial mental existence outside of space-time. Behind everything stands a world of mathematical waves. Waves are the fiber and fabric of the universe. They are the code of reality. They are the framework for everything else. They convey all of the information in the universe. They are the noumenal scaffolding upon which all of your phenomenal experiences hang. We couldn't have any experiences without the mathematical energy waves that support and transmit them. The waves that give them an ontology, an existence. This is why mathematics is so successful. It's because reality itself is literally made up of mathematical energy.
So, who does that sound like? Right?
The authors.
Yeah, that's how this started, right? That's what we signed up for. With this. That is, okay, in my opinion, that's waking up the world, right? So, let's see, where do we
This was the kind of stuff that he was producing, back in the day.
Yeah, 5 years ago now, ish, 4 or 5 years ago. And of course, that's when the PI was writing the content. Let me open up. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry, I can.
Hold on. No, stop. Don't laugh yet. You're not supposed to know that this is.
I didn't know there.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, here we go. Okay. So from about 128. Here we go.
I believe the moderators. The moderators do not lie.
Also, just keep an eye on the chat. $200 from El Bebe. $100. Take it off for Timothy. Jesus hacking you. What a hater. $100. So he made, let's see, $350, $200, $550 right here. And so I want you to just watch Morgue, obviously. Watch whatever you want. But keep an eye on the chat. It's crazy. It's disgusting, even. But yeah. At some point, some girl says, I'm naked too for solidarity. It's just all right, let's watch.
Moderators do not like. Fine. You wanted it. Motherfuckers. All right, fine. This is ridiculous. All right. Fine, we're doing, we are shirtless now. God, it's fucking cold. All right. It's official. Shit, it's really cold in here. Okay. Well, we are now apparently we're doing, drunk, shirtless Bible reading. Miss Gravedigger says, "Thank you for keeping your word as you always do." Well, yeah, you guys wanted it, so you got it. All right. Well, we're now apparently doing shirtless drunk Bible reading, which was not anticipated, but hey, it just someone says nude drunk Bible reading. You guys wouldn't even be able to see. You guys wouldn't even be able to see if I were nude. I have pants on. Okay, this is not nude drunk Bible reading. I have pants on. Okay. God damn, it is cold in here though. Okay, so do we have another verse that I can read here? And even though it's very cold in here, my computer's fans are still going very, very high, very fast. So I'm hoping the damn thing stayed. Well, we made our what are our likes at? What are our likes at right now? Okay, a lot of people are asking for acts. I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at the comments. All right. If we get over 1,000 likes, the pants are coming off. So just FYI, at 1,000 likes, the pants are coming off. We need 1,000 likes for. Well, I guess we did 666. So likes need to be 1111. So if we get 1111 likes, we'll have the pants come off. You can't. I know you can't see, but I'll make it so you can see. All right. How's that? So we need an axe.
What a creep.
A fucking cringe. Oh my God.
What a sleazebag. And you know what's funny is, like, you can't see the chat here, unfortunately. Maybe you can the next one, but the chat's going wild. It's like you were saying about the chatters and the quality of person, and this is what he wants. He's doing what he wants, you know?
Exactly. Nothing needs to be any different for him.
No, yeah, he loves this. He thinks he's killing it. It's loading. Oh, you can see the chat in this one. At least there's that. Yeah, I mean, it's just this guy getting drunk. He's not even here.
This was
okay. Here we go.
Hit that like button, didn't you?
Had to hit that like button.
You had to do it, didn't you? You had to do it, didn't you? Corey Shaw says, "I told you guys, good job, get it," and donated 666. All right, motherfuckers. Remember in the comments too, after this, suggest other drinks for me to try, and I'll probably do the top voted drink, and I'll do it the first time on live. Oh my God. All right, what are you guys? Yeah, you're at 680 likes. Fine. Screw you guys. You don't hit the like button just for me, but as soon as I have to do something, then you guys hit that like button. I see how it is.
Oh my God.
Hey,
this is so painful.
God damn,
this is world shaping.
Here you go. Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy now? It's cold. It is cold in here. My computer's been overheating, so I have the AC cranked on. So it's not warm. It's not. Luckily, the alcohol is warming.
$100 just went by.
Elise says, "Can we get some music?" Fucking David. David super chatted $100 and said 666. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. David, you're awesome. What do we?
Take off
you guys want me to take my pants off? What's wrong with you guys?
Here we go again.
No, I'm not taking my pants off. I will take my pants off for 800 likes. 800 likes and the pants will come off. Sure, why not? 800 likes for the pants off. Yeah, this Mark Nick says David single-handedly funds this movement. I mean, you're not wrong. Let's say, what should we send for David? Which version do I read from? This is the New Century version, NCV.
Let's keep going. Here is Tequila Morgue. I know it hurts. 122. Oh, there he is. So here he goes. The chat's going wild, of course. Maybe because you're alluring. Take it off. Woo, yeah. A promise is a promise. Are you shy? I think you're, in case anyone hasn't told you, I think you're wonderful, Morgue. Why does drunk Morgue always become shirtless Morgue? 777 and you gotta pose. Waiting to see the shirt come off. Yes, do it. Oh shit, it's happening. Take it off. Yeah.
Megan McGowan, thank you for helping us wake the world. Says I'll drink a beer with you. Thank you. All right, fine. You got it. Enough of that. And actually, It's a little it's kind of hot in here. It's actually not hot. I've just had too much to drink. So, that's actually kind of a relief. David, thank you for helping us wake the world. David super chatted another $50. Thank you so much, David. Says I joined in at the right time. Do one more for safety. Cheers. I'm not going to do another shot. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do another shot. I'm too drunk. I want to stay conscious.
I think you get the point of this is him feeding his narcissistic supply. This is him getting mostly younger girls, some older women too, but mostly girl fans, female fans fawning over him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's absolutely
he seems like so comfortable in this environment too. Like doing this, the three we've watched, he just seems like he's like beyond at home.
Oh yeah, he loves this. This is what he always wanted, And I would just like to point out really quick. Let me get that Edgelord Morgue video. This is the torch that the Illuminati gave him, and it was lit. This whole you are mathematical waves. There's a hidden reality that you can't see with your senses, and scientists are all faith-based. That was what he was. That's what he was given to give to others, and now we get this.
Just here, but thank you very much for that. Someone says drink water. Yeah, I do need to drink water.
And again, in the video description, I will place a link in the comments and the description for thedevilswhore.com, where they do an excellent analysis of Morgue's pathological narcissism. And all of his fans making sure he gets enough fluids or whatever, that's a very common theme in the chats. But the drunk stripping is not the only thing that is pretty disturbing about this guy's channel. Let's look at his Jesus obsession. He sees himself as a woke messiah, right? He's definitely has a Jesus complex where, the initial lore, I think, was that he's some kind of higher entity and he's here to wake you up, and very much playing on the savior theme. But let's see, at 8:50 we see a video. We see in this video the start of a really weird trend on Morgue's channel.
It's like Jesus wasn't able to, cure the world and get rid of this plague. But granted, he did film this video for me. So, what are you going to do? So let's take a look and see what Jesus said. I have not played this yet, but I am excited to see. This is legitimately the first time that I am going to be watching this. So let us see the message of Christ. Where is it? I can't find Jesus. God, Jesus is so hard to find. Sometimes he's in bacon. Sometimes he's on animal assholes. But where is he now? All right.
Hey guys, your boy, Jesus here. I know you've been waiting for me for a while. Sorry about that. But I'm back now. The second coming is here. I've returned to give you an important message. Morgue is a great guy. I really like him. If you could stop trolling him, that'd be great. Also, I became Hyperian. Hyperianism is the future.
Fantastic.
So be like Jesus and become Hyperian.
He's loving this, but this is just the tip of the weird Jesus obsession iceberg. It's it's let's see, at 127. Okay.
By the way.
Oh God, is Jesus cardboard cut out?
We could be twins, by the way.
Why would any grown adult world-shaping and philosopher, you know what I mean? Like this is a child like playing on fucking Twitch streams, like for money.
Perhaps we are siblings, Jesus and I. What do you think? Are we? Are we perhaps? Maybe. All right, come on over. Get over here. All right.
Here's a comment from Joanna. It's a engagement ring. That's nice.
What?
Do you see it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Classic Joanna.
Because they found Jesus in Russia recently? I haven't heard this. You think this would be bigger news if they found Jesus in Russia? Only one Master Sheikh, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, I don't think we're going to make it through an entire Jesus this evening. I'm trying! I am
Let's get some more of this in here. This is at 110, excuse me. Of course, he's got his lights and his smoke.
All paid for by patrons.
Yes, yes. Yeah, he's got
with
his
the
little
Jesus
showman hands. Oh, look, there's me. Great. And my comment was just as dumb as everyone else's because I was into this. Oh my god, I wish Morgue was my friend IRL.
from the depths of hell! We have joining us Devil Jesus. Devil Jesus, yes. Devil Jesus is joining us from the depths of hell. Wait, where? No, that's the wrong direction. Go this way, Devil Jesus. Devil Jesus has appeared.
And this is the behavior of someone that is certainly not moved on from the Christian lore. You know, he's obsessed with it. We got another one here.
Wow. Come on, it's cool, okay? Shut up. Shut up, it's cool. Shut up, it's cool. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Y'all.
And like, you know, whose world is he shaping? Bunnies?
Fucking fuck up. Anyway, how it works is basically like
playing with toys.
On a secret button, and then it makes a weight go down to number 3. I think it's cool. So that was.
I think my toys are cool.
Are my magic tricks not entertaining enough for you, Philip? Are my magic tricks not entertaining enough for you? Oh, C0. Thanks to Pro Virtual Wrestling, by the way, for the super chat. C0 became a member, so we'll put C0. C0, super nice, easy to write. Thanks for all the stars, guys, on Facebook. I see you, Carrie, Richard, Christina, and Dennis, by the way. That's it. I think Nick wanted one.
Let's get to the.
No, we read Nick's. Did we read?
Let's get to the Jesus reveal. I apologize for cringing you guys out, but
you know that writing the names on the board thing always reminded me of like I used to watch my sister teach first grade, and if you were good, you got your name written on the board, and it always reminded me of that.
That's what it is. Here comes if you're good and you donate, right? That's how you're good. Yeah.
Good equals throwing money at Corey.
Yes.
Now we know.
It's very scary. It's getting kind of scary in here. It's getting kind of.
I wonder who's joining us.
Kind of frightening. All right. Let's see.
Definitely didn't see this one.
I mean, dude, this is what clowns do. Yep. You know, this is clownish.
Yeah, what you were saying before about like just giving this link or like telling your friend to check out one of these streams, and like this is something like this is one of the ones they happen upon. It's like this is straight up embarrassing. Like, not only can I not recommend this to anyone with good conscience, but like what is this doing? Like, what is this accomplishing Like it's just a April Fool's hangout stream. So it's just like a hangout stream to encourage these like parasocial followers to feel like they're in a family or something. Like there's nothing waking up the world happening right now.
Yeah,
Not at all.
but he made $550 so far.
Yeah.
At least. You know, that's his game. This is what he does. He has no intention of doing anything good for humanity. It's all good for Morgue's wallet. And it's all
Mhm.
part of this grandiose false self known as Morgue, you know, because Corey is so repulsive to even Corey. Yeah, this is again, you are mathematical, right? To this bullshit. And this is just a sample of his, you know, stuff.
Yeah, with the first video that you showed, it was chock full. It was dense. There was like so much stuff to get through. Like I remember even some of those videos, those early videos, I would watch like 3 or 4 times, like on my break from work or something like that, because there was so much in there. But now jump cut to this, and it's like dense, what density, what like information are you trying to convey with like this bullshit? It's the worst. And like to like the audacity of like trying to like tell me and others like me that, you know, oh, don't worry, that's just like more Corey knows what he's doing. It's all part of the plan. Don't worry about these people in the chat or whatever. And it's like, for what? Like it's the same no matter what. It's like continuing. There is no desire to change it and to present and gaslight and tell everyone else it's going to get better is like just disgusting. It's sick, especially when those people that you're telling that are the ones that are working really hard for you and like trying to encourage this movement to go places and to be things, but you're just lying to them. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's the Susan was like, you know, or Morgue, I guess, was like, you know, what do you know about world shaping, Julie? You don't know anything about it. By the way, go work for us. Like,
Yeah.
get back to making good content for our second channel. By the way, you know, yeah, it's absolutely disrespectful. And who does this guy think he is? You know, and I think there's a great answer. On the devils horror.com. He's a pathological narcissist, you know, and it's
Says here to steal
evil baby Jesus.
my
You know, whether it's Jesus from, you know, zombie Jesus from hell, Jesus from Patreon, Fiverr, or Jesus the cardboard cutout, or evil baby Jesus, he's got this weird obsession. It's super immature with Jesus and reading the Bible. And I'm sorry, what does this have to do with meritocracy or mathematics? Like, where is that part? How long, Christina? How long did you ask if you could make a math series? That, you know, they brought you on to make math series.
Yeah. So after the Intro to Ontological Mathematics series, we were going to make one with more advanced topics, and we had a list of topics, and I had like 9 pages of everything written out, you know, and Rowan contributed to this too, obviously. And I had uploaded diagrams of what I was going to be talking about, and this whole thing, and I kept pushing for it for almost 2 years. And also in the Intro to Hyperian Mathematics series, we said, oh, and we're going to do a video specifically on the Lorentz factor soon. And it always got put on. And then suddenly we were going to do live streams. And I'm like, well, shit, if we're doing live streams and a video a week, we're not going to have time to do the math ones because they would have to be so in depth. You can't go over an advanced mathematical topic in 10 minutes, which was what we always strived for, was about 10 minutes, because that was the attention span of the average Hyperion.
I'm sorry. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, this is legit. Jewel can, back me up here, but yeah. So advanced math topics that were going to be, we estimated like 30 to 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
I was so excited about that project, and I just kept getting pushed back and promised it was going to happen. It was going to happen. And I kept writing, and no.
Well, this was Morgue's priority. Evil
Yep.
baby Jesus was more important than laying out the mathematical foundations of everything he's claiming. You should just believe him because he has the math, he has the equations, and when the time comes, those will be on YouTube, and you can just trust him for now, basically. And the math never came. It never came to YouTube. And it never will.
I pushed for that more advanced math so hard, and I got so frustrated.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you guys have seen enough of this. I think you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you want to scar me further.
No. This is more getting your reaction for viewers and people that are interested in Hyperianism and people that are currently in Hyperianism, for you guys to come out and say, this is how we were treated, and what we signed up for was something totally different. And you can't even watch what Morgue's currently doing without just cringing, That I think is very valuable for others. And I really appreciate you guys coming on and being honest about your experience as people behind the scenes helping Morgue. Thank you.
And,
Yeah, I was glad to be a part of this. I was glad to be a part of this, just to shine the light on some of the shit that's gone on in the past 5 years.
Well, I think it is a good time to end the video. And again, appreciate you guys both coming on. And let's end this cult and save people from this pathological narcissist.
yes.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, bye everyone. Good night. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Good night.
Hello again, and thank you for watching this video. I would just like to direct all viewers over to thedevilshorde.com to check out all of the AC updates and every post made, especially on the topic of Morgue's pathological narcissism. There's an excellent analysis of Morgue's pathological narcissism, so please check that out, especially if you want to educate yourself on who Morgue really is and what's going on with Hyperianism. Morgue is making active attempts to hide what's happening and to cover the truth about his actions, his swatting multiple people. And we want justice, not only for his swatting victims, not only for the roughly 250 people he is currently conning, but for the AC authors, the founders of ontological mathematics, from which Morgue has relentlessly plagiarized in order to prey on the ignorant and vulnerable so that he can feed his narcissism. Thank you.
We're at 792 likes. Yeah.